Hello, everybody, and welcome to another 80-bit newscast for November 30th, 2020. We are your hosts.
Penguin and Termite. I'm Penguin.
And I am Termite, and we are generally... That's our little news intro.
Yeah.
We're generally a weekly video game podcast, smashing together ideas that you care about with video games, but as an extension of that show, here we are every Monday night here at twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash to go over the video game industry's happenings for the week. And if you are following us on Twitch or you're hitting us up through YouTube, be sure to check out our base website, 80bitpodsmash.com. It's where you can land to find links to all of our podcasting platforms and other social media things, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit, for all of our others goings-ons in the world. So tonight, what are we going to talk about?
Alright, so we're covering only a few stories tonight. Should be quick. We are covering a bit of Microsoft news regarding their streaming service, xCloud. We are going to be talking about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, a game that just came out by the makers of Dynasty Warriors in tandem with Nintendo. And we're talking about a new studio that's forming.
Ooh.
And a theme park that's opening. So, yeah, some interesting stuff going on. Yeah, I feel like there's something that we usually talk about. Oh, yeah, feel free to comment and talk in the chat to us when the urge strikes you, and we will save responding to those thoughts until the end. But if you have questions, comments, feedback, corrections, any of that stuff, then please throw it out there. If there's something you want us to talk about that's not in our list of news topics, then throw them out there. And then at the end, we'll respond to everything. So, everything that we see, unless it's like walls of text, in which case, that's probably not going to happen. So.
Oh, when we get big enough and we have enough people in chat, it'll get there. Don't you worry about that.
We'll have some changes that we'll make when, if and when that happens. In the meantime, we are enjoying our small size, and therefore ability to respond to anything that anyone gives us.
That's true. But
without further ado,
it's the holiday season. We had our kickoff episode with Thanksgiving. The world is now celebrating Christmas, and I will be wearing this magical sweater, my single favorite piece of Christmas wear I have ever owned in my life. You can't really see it, so I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show the camera, but it is the Sony PlayStation Christmas sweater. It is actually knit. It is not one of those printed on ones. It is real. It is amazing. And I will be wearing this every Monday here since you guys are seeing me. And if I'm streaming, when I'm streaming, in the 2 Wednesdays that I'll be on for December. And maybe even during the Game Awards. We'll see.
Nice. My shirt's Pac-Man with Christmas.
Ooh, look at you. You rocking it too. I love it.
So, yeah.
You know,
feeling. I mean, I put this shirt on knowing we were streaming tonight. But we didn't coordinate. We weren't like, let's wear holiday wear. Let's wear our nerdy holiday wear. So
here we are. We did it up.
Look at that. Look at that.
Our brains are connected. Just like Microsoft is connecting itself to streaming apps for TV. Who would have thought?
That's our first news story.
So this comes by way of The Verge from Tom Warren. Go give them the click. Microsoft hints at turning Xbox into an app for your TV. Microsoft is in the early phases of rolling out its xCloud streaming service on mobile devices, but TVs are the next logical step. In an interview with The Verge, Xbox chief Phil Spencer has revealed he'll likely see an Xbox app appear on smart TVs over the next year. He says, "I think you're going to see that in the next 12 months, said Spencer when asked about turning the Xbox into a TV app. Quote, "I don't think anything is going to stop us from doing that." What do you think about that?
So this Verge article was not what clued me into this story. Instead, I saw a story today that was basically positing they were like Microsoft xCloud, Game Pass, whatever, being available on TVs is the final nail in the coffin of Google Stadia.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does Google Stadia have a TV app? Because if they don't, then yeah, this is the fact that this is going to be happening.
Well, you can do Stadia through a Chromecast, but you have to cast it to or from a device, I believe. It's not native in the Chromecast itself.
So having it like just on the TV, just built in, that when you get a new TV, it'll be a free app. It's a free app. You have to pay for the service, but the app itself, you don't have to any additional cost. Just pull up your remote, hit the button to start the xCloud and play your games on your TV. That's pretty cool. I think that's and yes, I would agree with the assessment that like that's going to if Google doesn't have anything to compete with that, that's going to be pretty painful. They already are so far behind because Microsoft just has such a bigger library of games that they already have licensed, and if they make everything, I don't know if everything's going to be available from Game Pass, but still, the fact that they have Game Pass to pull from is a big deal. So
yeah, that leaves Stadia with only the unique way of like being able to jump into other games like via YouTube-esque kind of thing. That would be the only thing that Stadia would have left. But Stadia is a whole new platform that requires whole new licensing deals with all the different publishers and devs for each game. Each game costs money. They're starting to do this like collection of free games if you get through their premium service that's kind of like Game Pass, but very, very light. So Game Pass is huge. The quality of service is amazing. xCloud works better than Stadia does. So the whole Azure supercomputer cloud system that Microsoft has been developing for years and years and years is perfectly suited for this. And what about like the console market? You don't like need to buy an Xbox console anymore. You could just buy it on your TV, right? Like if your internet's good enough, I suppose.
Yep.
So there'll be this like dichotomy because there's nowhere that Microsoft is hinting they're not going to make Xboxes anymore. So I imagine like the more hardcore enthusiast gamers who want the best quality 4K experience, probably 8K by the time this really hits mass production, you're going to want an Xbox in front of you with zero input lag and fully connected to the internet. Whereas the TV is just like a really cool mass audience kind of capturing everyone in a giant net. How many more subscriptions could Microsoft get just by having the accessibility on a TV? Like so many more.
People are gonna like fire up their TVs, see that there's an Xbox app on there. They're gonna be like, "What's this?" And they're gonna look into it. And yeah, you're right. They're gonna be, they're gonna get a lot of. I think they're gonna get a lot of casual gamers this way, and more power to them. So
yep.
It all depends on support. It all depends on how good it is running off the TV in regards to just like, I don't know. I don't know the specifics of like TV, like built-in wireless like Wi-Fi. I guess you could run a cable to it as well if you're.
Yeah.
But again, if we're talking about just the casual, we're not talking about the enthusiasts who are going to run a cable necessarily, Ethernet cable necessarily to their TV. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. So
yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah. Right.
Next up.
I don't have anything else.
All right.
So
Hyrule Warriors came out on, I don't remember the date, Friday, November 20th. Hyrule Warriors was released. Age of Calamity was the sequel to its original Hyrule Warriors that came out on the 3DS and the Wii U eons ago.
It's just
true.
A different version of Hyrule Warriors that is eminently Breath of the Wild flavored.
Very, very much so. And I actually streamed this on Wednesday last week. So if you had a chance to check that out, I was playing it for about 2 hours. But why is it in the news? Stephany Nunneley over at VG247 has the headline, "It breaks sales records on the Switch." So it has sold really well. And it is now the best-selling game.
Because I read the article, and that makes it sound like it broke sales records for any Switch game, but it seems like it just broke sales records for Koei Tecmo games.
Right. In the Warriors franchise, yeah. So Koei Tecmo called it a record for its series, yes.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. If you don't know what kind of game it is, it's technically a Musou, Mosou, I think is the genre, and it's just kind of like a hack and slash with light strategy elements, it's good. I really enjoyed Hyrule Warriors, so I really want to get my hands on Age of Calamity at some point. But who has the time? There's a million games with Cyberpunk right around the corner.
Yep,
and,
it's a lot.
The PS5 just came out, so I've been playing. I've platinum Spider-Man's, and I've been playing Demon Souls, so it's so much.
Yeah, it is. And the record is that it sold 3 million copies in a week. Well, this article was published in 4 days. It sold 3 million copies in 4 days.
Gotcha. Huh.
Yep, so for Koei Tecmo, that's amazing in that series. Yeah. So good clarification.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really good game. It's solid. I highly recommend it, and I actually purchased it because Godfall flopped, and I didn't buy Godfall. I didn't put that $70 in it, so I was like, well, I guess I could now. I budgeted that money anyway, so I just moved it over to Age of Calamity, and now I have one fewer PlayStation 5 game. But I can wait. Cyberpunk's going to be amazing, like you said.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
So next up are some of what are controversial developers over the last year. BioWare and Ubisoft, veterans, people who have left those companies, are making a new studio called Yellow Brick Games. And this article is from Marie Dealessandri over at gamesindustry.biz. A group of industry veterans from the likes of BioWare and Ubisoft founded independent studio Yellow Brick Games. They're based in Quebec City, Canada. The founding team includes Mike Laidlaw, former creative director of the Dragon Age franchise at BioWare, where he spent 14 years of his career. His most recent experience was as creative director at Ubisoft. He's joined by Thomas Giroy, Jeff Skalinski, and Frederick St. Laurent B. I can't say French names, so I probably butchered it, but go check it out. Who collectively have experiences at Ubisoft, BioWare, Electronic Arts, and Activision Blizzard. They'll be led by Giroy as the CEO and Skalinski appointed COO, and the chief creative officer is Laidlaw, and the game director is St. Laurent B. The new studio promised to, quote, further cement the region's leading role in the global entertainment scene with its first original project, which hasn't been revealed, but already has a team of 15 employees. And this is what I like about it. You know, I'm kind of skipping around the article here, but Yellow Brick Games also said it wants to prioritize a, quote, craftsman approach with its projects, moving away from the type of AAA structure they have all had experience with. We want to emphasize a back-to-basics approach centered on the pleasure of crafting new game experiences in a flexible and more personal environment that an independent studio can provide. And then the last quote is from Skalinski, says, we have learned a lot from working on world-class multi-year projects with thousands of colleagues, and we want to make a different approach. Leveraging a smaller, talented team where people come first, we will create amazing worlds and experiences for all others to enjoy. The market is moving fast, and we have no desire to play catch-up and chase it when we can influence where it goes. These goals drove us to found Yellow Brick Games. How awesome does that sound?
Sounds good, I guess. I mean, it depends on what they make.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I mean? Like,
but we talk at length about how there are trouble in the industry with the ballooning of the AAA costs, the budgets going crazy, the mass companies, like huge amounts of people that require things like crunch and all these workplace problems, and they're done with all of that. They're leaving that entire industry behind, and they're going to try and influence it now as a really smart indie developer.
It's comforting that they're veterans, but
yeah.
Indie comes with its own baggage. You know what I mean? Like indie games and low budgets, they can do amazing and incredible things, but but it's indie, right? So they're independent. They don't have all the resources of a big company,
right?
For better or for worse. You know what I mean? So time will tell. But the fact that they're veterans is comforting. The fact that they are guys who were the heads of good projects in many ways before these companies soured. Is pretty cool. So, kind of like with with the whole Blizzard forming, like the old Blizzard vets forming Dreamhaven or whatever. So, there seems to be a movement away from a movement of the indie scene used to be just people like you and me, kind of grassroots, like young people making games for the first time and just doing it well. That's kind of what the indie scene used to be. Now there seems to be a movement of industry vets who are moving out of the AAA space and saying, we're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna divorce ourselves from all this money and all this politics. And so I'm waiting to see what the fruits of that are going to be, because that's as far as I'm concerned, that seems to be new. That seems to be something that hasn't ever happened in the gaming industry before, because all these guys, I guess it hasn't happened since. Well, no, it hasn't happened before, because again, the fact they're experienced. You know what I mean? Like when they first got their start, when EA and Activision and all these big, massive, what are now big, massive, when they were tiny and small, they were just doing it for the first time. They were grassroots and they'd never made games before. And now they're making games. You know what I mean? So this is the fact that people who have made titles that everybody knows and loves are now starting from scratch effectively. It'll be interesting to see what the fruits of that are, and I hope we get some great games out of it.
I think we will. It's a great trend in the industry that we never really talked about in this past generation. So, the PS5 is upon us, the Xbox Series X, and it's been 7 years. The indie scene really broke forth in the PS3, Xbox 360 generations, but it was really optimized And there was a lot of money made from independent studios. Look at like Stardew Valley and how one guy like wrote all of that, and he spent 5 or 6 years in poverty with his girlfriend's support, and finally it busted through, and now he's rich. Look at Minecraft, right, from Mojang, and how much money it was, like $8 billion that Microsoft purchased it for. And so we're seeing like those started off as small indie titles in Gen 7,
Sure. Yeah.
really blew up in Gen 8 and caused a flashlight on it. People are trying to, like, there is money to be made here in this space without all of the politics and the company corporate bloat. And now we're starting to see for the first time, like you said, industry veterans leaving these big companies with all of the malpractice that we have talked at length about over the past generation in this podcast, and they're now going to do their own thing. And they could potentially be the next big Activision, the next EA in the future, and it's cool that they have had that experience to carry with them, and they have their own pedigrees, and they have solid resumes of games that they have worked on, which only helps increase the quality of what we consider an indie game. So like
they're also like they've been burned by this industry before. They're wary of the pitfalls, as opposed to, again, some of these young indie developers, they make it big and they strike gold, and then suddenly they've got Activision, EA, they're knocking on their doors and saying, you want to sign a contract. And again, they're young and experienced. They're like, all right, cool, yeah, I want to make that money, and I don't blame them for it. But it'll be interesting to see how these, like Dreamhaven, Yellow Brick Games, how these guys are going to be like, nah, we've been down that road before, and we're not interested in going down that road again. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, what I hope for is a bunch of new development studios that are untethered by all of that, and can make the games they want to make, release them when they want to release them, and aren't, having to crunch,
right?
But are so wildly successful in their own rights. That's what I want. I would love that, and I want them to make the best games of the next generation. So.
And that'll then influence the future generations after that. And here we go down that road, right? It's generation after generation. It's fantastic.
You might say it's a yellow brick road.
How about that? Catch you outside.
All these whimsical names. Yellow Brick Games, Dreamhaven.
Yep.
What is this? Yeah. All right.
Speaking of roads, a new Mario Kart ride was detailed to open with Super Nintendo World in February of 2021. And I'm going to read some snippet from Nintendo Life by Ryan Craddock. So this came out today.
This is our last story, so if you have
any
thoughts, I don't see that we have many people watching, but if you do hop in, please feel free to say something in chat, and we'll respond to it.
We will, and if there's any corrections or anything, too. So, after its lengthy delay, the Universal Studios Japan's Super Nintendo World theme park will officially open on February 4th, 2021. The news was shared by USJ's official Twitter account this morning, which also provided a great look at some of the park's finer details. There's a fantastic image of the park itself, which looks like it will be charming, colorful wonderland, and we can also see the Mario Kart ride, which was first revealed in a leaked, now deleted footage earlier this year. Bloomberg's Karumi Mori has also shared more details about the park after being treated to a first-hand look. Mori confirms that the Mario Kart ride, which is called Koopa's Challenge, is an on-rails experience that uses AR headsets. She says it was really cool, with themed walls, doors, banners, ceilings, lights, and a giant statue of Bowser. Visitors see all this and a trophy room while lining up for the ride. In the same Twitter thread, he explained that all the riders are given slim headsets and that each cart has 4 seats and a steering wheel. Riders are apparently, quote, given some control of the cart, and you can collect items and throw shells at other carts. There'll be a Mario Cafe and a store opened as well. What do you think of that? Did you check it out? Did you look at the pictures of the video?
No, I don't. I think you edited this one late.
I did
because I didn't. Yeah, I didn't see it when I was looking at news things earlier. But that sounds cool. I mean.
This looks like a Nintendo fanboy's dream. This looks amazing. Sure. This is amazing.
I love what the article says. Is this heaven?
So the carts have like this flashing button in the middle, and there's a steering wheel with 2 buttons on the top, and then you have an AR headset. And it is competitive amongst 2 different entire tracks. So there's a cart lineup of Mario Karts, like a roller coaster of Mario Karts, and there's a roller coaster of Luigi Karts. And they both go at the same time, and they, quote, race. And so whatever the AR game is happening with all the screen elements and UI things happening, throwing shells at one another, there's a competitive nature to it. And I don't know how many carts are lined up, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 4, it's 20 people. So is it 20 versus 20? Are there really 40 competing drivers, or are you just competing with your 4? I don't know. But go check this stuff out. It looks Disney level absolutely immersive, incredible quality, super
and you
colorful.
And I will probably never ever get a chance to do it because it's in Japan.
Life goals. Life
Right,
goals.
Yeah. One day, maybe one day.
I mean, this is the
When we don't have
first.
kids.
It's Universal Studios, and this is the first
That'd be
one.
ironic,
So
right? When we don't have kids, then we'll be able to afford to get away and go to Nintendo Land in Japan to go on a Mario Kart ride. Oh, thank God, we don't have kids anymore. We're too old, like 60-somethings, getting on this Mario Kart ride. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm all in on that. That sounds amazing. The I guess this was also met with a little bit of questions, or not even, I wouldn't even say controversy, but just a little concern. February 4th is very, very early in 2021, and this pandemic is not going anywhere. And so the idea of like sharing AR headsets, and like the park is not very big, and so shoving all of those people into a tiny space, if they do COVID restrictions, how realistic is it going to be for you to actually be able to go and spend some time there? Because if you can only have a third of the park's, register, whatever the number is, I don't even know. If you can hold 600, but you can only put 50 through at a time, you're going to have thousands and thousands of people dying to get here. So, it's going to be insane, and trying to stay safe. How will that change the experience? And so there's a lot of questions that they haven't talked about. All they've said is it's opening February 4th. And, I guess everything will be sanitized, I suppose.
Yep. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, I think that's it then for the news. That's our last story. So we don't have any comments in the chat room, but we do have a couple of announcements. Next week is the Game Awards.
Yes.
So, obviously, the content you have to look forward to. There will be an episode. There's an episode that just dropped on game launch titles today. I will be doing a stream. I don't know what I'm streaming yet. Maybe Demon's Souls again. I don't know. But I will be streaming on Wednesday. And then we have, the same thing, same stuff Monday night. We'll have another newscast. And then Thursday, in addition to all the other streams that we do, next Thursday is the Game Awards. So we will be streaming the Game Awards and our reactions. So we'll be like mirroring the stream, I think, of the Game Awards. And then, but you should join us so that you can watch it with us effectively and see our live reactions to things. So we'll be doing that on December 10th. So look forward to that. It will be a lot of fun. Lots of announcements. So we'll be freaking out about announcements. And you'll get all of our clever quips, that even the ones you don't get, uncensored ones that you don't get on when we do live tweets. We're doing this instead of a live tweet, by the way.
Right.
And then, we get to see us react to the winners of the various, and all of our, like it's gonna be this, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be this. Oh, I was right, or I was not right at all. So it'll be fun.
And December 10th is also the launch day of Cyberpunk, which might involve a live stream from me, depending on the day. So who knows? We'll just throw that out there.
Termite customize his character's genitals.
Yep, exactly. And it's going to be fun. And then Monday, December 14th, we're going to launch an episode about the Game Awards. It will launch after, to continue that celebration from Thursday the 10th through the 14th, where we're going to have questions about what is the Game Awards and how do they work and what are the categories and a history of it and pros and cons of all the stuff. It'll be fun. So join us on our podcast there, and our podcast and links to everything we just talked about can be found at 80bitpodsmash.com or right here at twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash.
For those of you who are watching now, we'll see you later. For those of you watching on YouTube, then we hope you enjoyed the show, and see you next week.
Like and subscribe.